yards. What a memory in his final game at Utah. First down for the 15. Barnes walking to the end zone. It's Kincaid again. Who's got it? What a story. From nowhere, Bryson Barnes comes in and leads Utah to a tying touchdown.
From the shadows of the Wasatch Front to the shores of the Great Salt Lake, you're listening to the Wynn to Scott Report, presented by UteFans.net, the original home for Ute fans.
Welcome to this special edition of the Wynn to Scott Report. I'm your host, Andy Brown, and I'm joined here today by former Utah wide receiver Kenneth Scott and former Ute quarterback Jordan Wynn. How are you guys doing? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay.
So we walked out of the Rose Bowl disappointed in the outcome, but proud of the effort our team showed in front of the most watched University of Utah athletics event in school history with 16.6 million viewers. Our fans overwhelmingly dominated attendance at the Granddaddy at the mall with almost 70,000 Ute fans in attendance. Wow. Our field general, Cam Rising, went out with a concussion in the waning minutes of the game, and we still hung in there with our backup quarterback, Bryson Barnes, a walk-on freshman from Milford, Utah. Does anyone know where Milford is? I do.
Big farmer. He's a pig farmer.
Ice in his veins.
Pig farmer. It was
Andy funny.
it was a Rose Bowl. It was a Rose Bowl for the ages. It was a Rose Bowl classic. So I just wanted to share a few thoughts before we jumped into our review and analysis tonight. First of all, I'd like to thank all of our viewers and listeners for following us during this historic season. We do the Plan to Win and the Wynn to Scott Report, hoping that we bring something unique to the ever-expanding and changing world of Utah youth media. We are your biggest fans. Also, I'd like to thank everyone at UteFans.net who has helped make these shows possible, and for our many supporters within that community. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the many athletes who have joined us on podcasts or who have endorsed the site. Personally, I can tell you that those gestures meant the world to me, and I never, ever would have dreamed I'd be in a situation like this in my life. Lastly, but definitely not least, I have to thank Jordan Wynn and Kenneth Scott from the very, very bottom of my heart for believing in the vision, as well as their support of UteFans.net and for their expert analysis and everything they've done for the University of Utah. Players like you make the game and the team we love fun, and you gave us all something to cheer for. Anyone who watched you two when you played knew that you gave everything you had on the field. We're grateful to have you as part of the team. When we decided to
debatable. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
when we decided to relaunch UteFans.net at the beginning of the year, our goal was to champion the student athlete, meaning we wanted to highlight the lives and achievements of all the individuals representing University of Utah athletics. We had a unique vision, and we sincerely hope that we could make a difference with the university, the fan base, and with the players, both current and former. We wanted to stand for what we thought was right, and we wanted to stand out as student-athlete advocates. UteFans.net still has big plans that we hope will unfold in the coming months and years, and we hope you'll all be there with us. It has been my privilege to be involved in something that I think is so needed and so important, so I sincerely thank you all for that. So let's talk Rose Bowl. Kay Scott, what are your initial thoughts on this historic game?
I know there's no moral victories, but this has to be an exception. It has to be. It has to be. My thoughts, man, first half, I was talking big trash to everybody I knew. I was like, oh, yeah, you better call everybody and get somebody else on the field, because I was talking big trash first half. Second half, doing it down a little bit. Had some moments where I think we could have did a lot better in that kind of got out of our hand. But, ultimately, I thought our guys did well as far as they played their heart out. They had a tremendous effort and display on the TV that made literally everybody proud. So, and to highlight a few players, man, especially Makai Bernard, man, I'm super proud of him. Just the effort he put on literally all phases of the game, offense, defense, and special teams. Like, this guy must have did everybody's cardio and condition, because ain't no way you're going to do all phases and not be tired. But kudos to him. Kudos to everybody on the team for giving us fans something to enjoy. So I thought they did pretty well, even despite the loss.
Jordan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of feelings of pride and just like sheer joy. I mean, watching the Utes run out in the Rose Bowl was pretty incredible. Yeah, like K. Scott said, Bernard is an Iron Man. I mean, to go both ways like that and play special teams is unheard of. And I mean, he stepped up big. I know he had a little bit of a tough time covering those cats on the other team, but I mean, he hung in there. He hung in there and did his best. Shout out to Bryson Barnes. Man, pick up the rifle. Man goes down. Your leader goes down. Pick up the rifle. What does he do? He comes in and throws a touchdown and ties the game up in the last couple minutes. So, yeah, just a couple plays away. You know, watching that game, being there, I think you gotta tip your cap, because I think they could have easily folded up shop. I think a lot of people had them projected to kind of not care, not being in the playoff. And they got punched in the mouth and were down 21-7. And I really don't think anybody would have thought much different if they would have just said, hey, we really didn't want to be here and whatever. Utah wanted to be here. It is what it is. But they hung in. Jackson Smith and Jigba's incredible. Marvin Harrison's son is incredible. CJ Stroud is incredible. So it was just a well-played game. It was honestly probably the best Rose Bowl I've ever seen. I mean, excluding being a huge Ute supporter, for it to go back and forth like that. And, you know, there were 6 touchdowns scored in the second quarter. I mean, you don't really see that even in today's world. So you just got to tip your cap. It was a great season, and we just came a few plays away from capping it off.
So I read a recap from ESPN that came out right after the game, and this is what they said about Ohio State. They said, a win in Pasadena is always never taken for granted by a Big Ten power. The Buckeyes overcame the instinct to relax after their national title dreams died, and they put on a performance that showed Day's program has tenacity. And then for Utah, they said, the Utes were agonizingly close to their third New Year's Six victory during their 2-decade transformation from a mid-major overachiever to an elite Power 5 program. Despite the loss, the impressiveness of their fight and the size of their traveling fan base confirms Utah has arrived. And I just had to read that, you know.
Man.
Quite the
contrast. He's never in the barn. That's a Whittinghamism. He's never in the barn. We never arrived.
Boy, I almost dropped a tear, man.
And I got to say this too. Quote from Bryson Barnes. He said, all we needed was 30 more seconds, if that. Get down the field, tie it, and head to overtime. But we didn't get enough time. A lot of dudes are sad, but there's not a lot to hang our heads on. We've been through the lowest of lows and the highest of highs, but we made Utah football history today. So I had to share those snippets. So let's talk offense.
Mic drop.
Yeah, let's talk offense. That first half has to be one of the best halves of Utah offense ever. Utah had 35 points and 324 yards in the first half alone. Cam Rising went 11 for 15 for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns, plus having rushed for 62 yards. Tavion Thomas had a touchdown. Makai Bernard caught a touchdown. Britton Covey had a kick return touchdown. And Brant Keithy was all over the field. It could not have been going better for the Utes. Ohio State made adjustments in the third and held Utah to a lone field goal in that quarter. In the fourth, Rising goes down, and we all figured the game was over at that point until our newest Utah legend, Bryson Barnes, came in and led a 57-yard touchdown drive, culminating in a 15-yard pass to Dalton Kincaid, which tied the game with 1:54 to play. Our run game wasn't nearly as dominating as it had been all season, only rushing for 138 yards all game. Fun fact, teams that score 45 or more points were 224-13 this season. So, okay, Scott, what do you think about Utah's offensive performance this game?
Man, like you said, man, the first half, man, it was amazing. I even think that it was a series before the first half where it was a third down play and he threw it over to Dalton Kincaid. It was a low ball, but if Dalton would have picked it up, and got that third down conversion, we would have went into halftime at least kicking another field goal, or scoring potentially another touchdown, which would have put us up at halftime by 17 or 21, And so that was a key moment. I thought, like, man, if we would have, got that catch, it would have been a tough catch, but if we would have got it, it'd been great. But offensively, man, we was battling back and forth with them, back and forth. It was amazing to see. Cam Rising, man, he just has the it factor, man. The explosive run that he had after when he's spinning off, and then I thought he was gonna get hawked at the end. I ain't gonna lie, I thought he was slowing up a little bit too much. Like, boy, they get the touchdown. But I thought the offense played well. Brent Keefe, he did his thing. Receivers, they were able to get some passes out their way. So, I think they did well, efficient, and did well. We just, man, like Bryson Barnes said, man, we just didn't have enough time, man. It's tough, but I'm proud of what they did, though.
Jay Wynn, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a crazy stat. If you would have told us before we'll score 45, I'd say, man, that's a win, But no, they came out and did what they needed to do. I think, regardless of who sat out from Ohio State, you knew they were going to put up points, and we matched them. We really did. I think Cam played extremely well, extremely efficient. They were decent on third down. Didn't run the ball super great, but still were able to, establish a running game. And, it's just one of those ones where, it's a few plays here and there, and you don't really know when they're going to come. I mean, that's the tough part about these big games is it's usually 3 or 4 plays that win the game, and it could happen in the first quarter. It could happen in the fourth quarter. You don't know. And, unfortunately, they had the ball last. It's interesting. I heard Kyle talk about after the game, they thought about going for 2. And that's what I thought in the bleachers. I thought they should have went for 2. Just because you would rather at that point, I felt like at that point we couldn't stop their offense.
Right.
And so let's just make the play. Let's just make the game right here and right now. Because then if you don't get it, you still have 3 timeouts with 2 minutes left. You still can force them to run and maybe get another chance. But I think in the press conference, he just said he didn't like it with how much time was left, which I get. But hey, you know what? Offense did their thing. You can't really ask for a whole lot more. I think the 4th and 3 they got stopped on was one of those plays. That's one of those plays. That's the difference. But hey, we went toe to toe with Ohio State and had them on the ropes. And again, all you can kind of do is tip your cap to them and build on it.
The only thing that pisses me off is that Oregon beat these guys.
I know.
And we dogged Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon caught him early, though. Stroud wasn't who he is yet.
That's true.
That dude, he attempted like 46 throws and only threw 9. That guy's like, if he could go to the NFL, he'd probably be the first quarterback taken.
That's crazy.
Right? Like that dude's real. That's a real dude over there.
He's a guy. He's a guy. That's a guy.
He's a guy.
So K. Scott, let's bring up the bat signal.
Yeah, why not? And this bat signal is special because the number. I mean, he's number 2, so I had to give it to him. And it was a Sports Center top 5 play, so I had to give it to my guy Makai Bernard. Him coming out of the backfield, going the wheel route, beautiful. Oh my God, that catch was amazing. Perfect dime too by Cam Rising, throwing it to the back pine line. Makai Bernard said he don't even know how he caught it. He just stretched out his arms, but it was so beautiful. He even got the feet in bounds. That was a picture perfect play. That is my bat signal. I loved it. It was towards the ending of the first quarter, and man, it was just amazing, beautiful. It should have been top 1. I mean, number 1 in my opinion, but that's because I'm biased.
So defense, yikes. We were down. We were down for the count.
How often does that word happen from a Utah defense? Yikes!
We were down for the count in the secondary before the game started. turning to running back Bernard to play cornerback for the first time since high school. Bernard was tasked with covering some of the best receivers in the country while also playing offense, where he had a receiving touchdown. The Ohio State University went after Bernard all game long, and made the youths pay.
Smart decision.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Coach Ryan Day for Ohio State said that Ohio State would have won by more had the other receivers played, which is funny, saying that our secondary was absolutely decimated going into the Rose Bowl, but whatever.
He said that?
He did say that. I thought we should bring that to light on our show.
I'm keeping it at PG, but that's messed up, man.
He said that?
What a freaking jerk.
That's not cool.
That's cold.
Ultimately, Utah forced 2 punts on the first 2 drives, won at 14-0, which had all the Ute fans, including me, thinking we'd be taking the Roses home in 2022. But Ohio State scored 3 consecutive touchdowns, and C.J. Stroud ended up with a Rose Bowl record. Are you guys ready? You guys are both sitting down, right? 573 yards passing.
That has to be the most passing yards ever against us, ever in the history of Utah.
Had to be.
And at least as far as I know, and then Jackson Smith, the Jigba, absolutely owned the Utes. He just owned us for an FBS bowl game record, 347 receiving yards. I mean, whenever he caught the ball, he was a threat to score. It was something to watch. This guy's amazing.
You know what's crazy? Like that comment the head coach made about if the other receivers were in, like they would have won by more. I don't agree with that because, I mean, the production off of one receiver equates to dang near what shoot. I don't believe they would have won by more. I mean, they dang near scored every possession except for the 2 possessions.
Right.
I mean, shoot.
Right.
I'm mad now.
Yeah, Utah's D-line could not get pressure on Stroud, and we did not sack him once the entire night. Clark Phillips III had an interception in the end zone, which we remember what happened after that. And then he also forced a fumble. So those were nice contributions by him, but ultimately a stop or 2 would have won the game. So Jordan, what are your thoughts on the D?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they came out playing well, right, with those first 2 stops. And then, man, those dudes over there just kind of got rolling. Ryan Day, dickhead move, dude. I'm just going to say it.
Whoa. Kevin, can we censor that?
Man, that's a dickhead comment, dude. Like, you ain't got to say that. I mean, come on, man. That's just like, that makes me mad. But no, I mean, look, that guy, and Jigba is a first rounder. Stroud's a first rounder. Harrison Jr. is probably a first rounder. So, I mean, look, the best receiver at Alabama was at Ohio State and couldn't see the field and transferred to Alabama. So that just shows you the depth and the talent that they had. I thought up front they did a good job. I don't think we got a lot of pressure on Stroud. We let him sit back and kind of dissect us a little bit, which was tough. Obviously, being shorthanded in the back, never good. Bernard went out there and gave it everything he had. The problem is you're going against 2 first rounders probably. So tough task for him. Again, just like I said, if you walked into that one and said, we'll score 45, I think everybody takes it and says we win. So, tough to end on that note, but, it is what it is. They got good players too, they got good guys too. So, yeah, I mean, we needed to stop, really all could have been forgiven if we get a stop at the end of the game and force overtime, right? Like all the bad plays, all the blown coverages, tackles, whatever. If you could just get a stop at the end there, everything's forgiven. But unfortunately, they couldn't, and that's a wrap. So tough way to go down, but still a lot to be positive about. Again, like K. Scott said, no moral victories, but you got to feel good about the way we showed out, the way we traveled, the way the fans showed out. So I think it put a lot of spotlight on Utah that hasn't been there, especially with the viewership. I know towards the end, I think it almost hit 20 million viewers in the last couple minutes.
Crazy.
So, it was great for the program, and again, just got to build on it.
K. Scott.
Man, defensive wise, man, Jordan hit the nail right on the head. There was one specific play. I think it was the linebacker, Taryn Reed or something like that, where he dropped the interception. Like late in the game, we were up by. If he would have picked that off, oh man, I think we would have went down. Probably we would have got another possession under our belt. Probably would have did something with it, but it would have negated one of their possessions. Because I think they ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive. But I'm just thinking about that just one play, man. It was in their red zone. If he would have picked it off, man, we would have been. But it was tough that whole game. No, after the first couple of series, the passing game was just killing us, man. Granted, it seemed like they were starting to pick on Makai. Every literally, I watched where he was, and I was like, oh shoot, they gonna go over there. Oh man, and sure enough, they did. And it's not to speak nothing bad about him. He's just, he's a running back playing out there playing quarter like on some street ball stuff. So, they did what they had to do. Great game planning by them by picking a spot where they feel like they can maximize that. And when I thought about it, I thought that we would have, because Jackson Smith was in the slot, I thought we would have moved Clark Phillips to the slot, just to kind of put a better advantage on him instead of number 15 that was on him, in the slot. But, injuries killed us. The availability killed us as far as the DB sakes is concerned. But defensively, I think we could have done a lot better. One or two stops would have, or at least one more stop for sure would have, won us that game. So not a Utah defensive performance, that's for sure.
Let's talk special teams.
It's a wash, man. We get one big play and we give up a big play.
So Britton Covey, hey, let's talk about some good stuff here. Britton Covey made one of the most memorable plays in the game, lighting up Ohio State for a 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, eclipsing Cal Beck's record from nearly 30 years ago in the Freedom Bowl. For whatever reason, we switched punters and brought in Michael Williams to punt in the third, and we all know what happened there. That muff led to Ohio State scoring a touchdown and swiftly shifting momentum to their side. Ohio State also had 233 return yards in the game, including a 33-yard return by Emeka Egbuka on the final drive that set Ohio State up on their own 42-yard line. The one bright spot for special teams this game was Covey's return. The rest, we wish it was forgettable. So offense does well. Defense really doesn't. I can't say the special teams was much better. Very one-dimensional for the U of U. Jordan, what are your impressions of the special teams?
Yeah, I think you traded one big play for a big play for them. So it's kind of a wash. I thought it was interesting. Neither kicker really could kick it out of the end zone. It seemed like every kickoff there was a run back, and that last one, in my mind, really was kind of the difference maker. You allow them to get the ball at the 43, I think you said, or 4. You almost ran it back
42.
to midfield, right? Like, I remember we kicked it, and all of a sudden I'm like, instead of making them go 70 yards, now they got to go 30. Like, that's not ideal. So, obviously the kick return was electric. A phenomenal play. The muff punt is just, you can't win, man. You can't play bad football and win. And that's playing bad football. So that's got to get obviously tightened up. Other than that, it was just so, right? Like, I don't think their kickoff coverage unit did a great job. They gave up a kick return for a touchdown. So yeah. I kind of think it was a wash, really. That muff punt was just kind of at the wrong time. That was kind of the beginning of the momentum, the pendulum swinging, and just unfortunate. You can't only win one phase and expect to beat a good team. And I think Utah only won one phase, and that's what happens. You come up short.
Okay, Scott, what are your thoughts?
Man, like Jordan said, man, that muff punt came at the wrong time. Getting the ball in their red zone. Oh my God. But yeah, definitely was a wash. Man, I still can't believe a muff punt, but it happens. It's football. It happens. It just happened at the wrong dang time. The wrong time. But special teams with a wash. I'm always happy when Covey does something great, man. He's a phenomenal person. And that's somebody you always want to see something good happen to him. I don't know. He just got that aura, But such teams, it was a wash. I was hoping that, yeah, but special teams was a wash. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I can agree with you. Disappointing with the outcome, but at the end of the day, man, like we're playing with Ohio State in the freaking Rose Bowl, So
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of complaints, but that's the big stage right there.
Yeah.
So
I'm still pissed that Ryan Day said that comment.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
I'm like, sorry, listeners, for my cussing, but man, that's
wow.
Not right after you win.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of our final Wynn to Scott report for this season. Again, thank you everyone who has supported us, and we really can't wait to make some improvements for next year. It's been a heck of a season, and we can't wait to see what happens in 2022. Stay tuned for the Plan to Win coming this week, and we will keep you posted on UteFans.net as well as social media. What is up next for the original home for Ute fans? This is Andy Brown from the Wynn to Scott report signing off. Go Utes.
Utes!
Thanks for listening to the Wynn to Scott report, presented by UteFans.net. Join us next time for more exclusive insider analysis from two of your favorite former players. We are the original home for Ute fans.